background. So, is this our backdrop? We won't get sued for this, right?
Just like, I don't think so. As long as it's quiet enough.
Well, it's not very quiet in my headphones. Hang on, let me turn it down a bit. I mean, that's it's
Just in the background.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. Well, also, by the way, guys, we are live, by the way.
Oh,
I just started it a second ago. I don't know if I just hear gunfire. Welcome, zoom, zoom, zoom in the background. It's all.
War.
I don't know. You have our list of topics. Oh, I heard "Watch out, sniper" in the background. Watch out, sniper! I'm like, okay. This is the most disorganized podcast we've ever had, I think. The thing is worse than the one about the pyramids.
Listen. So we're just getting the pyramid.
And the pyramid one's on YouTube. The pyramid one is on YouTube, though. We discussed pyramids and bike motors. It was when you first got your bike motor. We were discussing pyramids.
Make it into a motor.
Yeah, we were discussing pyramids and your washer motor for your bike.
Recently, I figured out how to make
A black hole. He's like, recently I've discovered how to time travel. Recently I've solved immortality, actually. So what are our topics? Can you listen? Oh.
perfect 60-degree angle. I found out how to make a equilateral triangle in a grid of squares. A perfect one.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful. It's really.
I'm a bit retarded.
Is that?
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a bit retarded. It's just in the background. Roadshow Rogan lost it. No, yeah, send us the list so we can at least review it before we actually start the real podcast part, and we're not just sitting here talking about. God, these war sounds, fucking hell.
I don't remember those.
They're so intense. You didn't make a list?
I did not make a list. I don't think it would be that difficult.
I mean, depending on how we talk, because we can go on a tangent for a long time and then forget our main topic.
Yeah.
Like on the ride back from Culpeper, we were talking about one thing, and then went on a tangent for like the entire ride, and then got back to the final topic towards the end, and then didn't finish it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just good conversation.
It is good conversation. Also, that was a really good frozen coconut drink that we got there. Dragon's Blood, I think it was, something like that. It was good.
From the gas station?
Yeah, that was a good gas station.
I didn't get that.
I mean, you didn't get that, but that was a good gas station, though, you know?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't remember that being.
It was sketchy. I mean, it was sketchy as hell, but it was a cool gas station. They had some stuff in there. They had some good stuff in there, man. Like I got nachos. Remember that?
They have ices.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got the icy, dude.
The bear, the throwback.
Yeah, I had that. That's what I had. Bro, we should bring that back, honestly.
The polar bear.
I vote we bring back polar bears to movie theaters. Like, I assume they went off movies just as much as we do.
I assume polar bears are just going to be mythical creatures.
What if we just...
In 200 years from now,
kind of like dragons?
girls drawing, not like unicorns.
The little girls drawing polar bears, though? I don't think little girls are going to find polar bears cute, though, like, compared to a unicorn.
I mean, they're just white. They're like white bears.
Yeah, so if there's normal bears, they'll be like, why is this bear so special? Yeah, but if it's just like a normal white bear, they're like, why is this white bear so much better than these other bears that are still alive, you know?
Well, I mean, that's like the color scheme, though. It's like pink and white, right? For the typical little girl.
I mean, I guess so. I thought for them it was like, well, like pink and yellow or something. You know, stars and
Black
shit.
and neon green.
Yeah. They go to raves. Little Susie's going to a rave at the age of 4. I'm trying to turn up, Ma. Get the fuck out of my way.
Instead of a homecoming dance, they need homecoming raves.
So Keegan.
Oh.
Keegan. Kegels.
This man.
Nephilim Keegan. I don't think he knows. Own Eek.
Own the elk.
Oh, you know, speaking of elks, there's a whole other tangent. You know how fucking massive elks are, though?
They're huge. They're pretty huge.
They're giant.
Recently, I made a concept character that has an elk spirit, and he can, there's like power different, like, I'm making up like these whole narratives now. I got a whole world made that I want to make into a TV show.
Is it like my game Bear Arms? Have you heard of my game Bear Arms I'm making for school? Have you heard of my game? Have you heard of my game Bear Arms that I'm making? It's actually my entire final project is about a game called Bear Arms. Is my final project for class right now. It's when I graduate.
Explain it again, Keegan.
Yeah, explain it. I haven't heard about it yet.
Oh, you want to hear about? I have the whole concept storyline written down on Google Documents.
Okay, how long is it?
Well,
1600.
it's all headcanon. So it's basically I just have to look at the list and then it'll be in my brain again. That's how it works.
Right. Okay.
By the way, Keegan, what's it like having a 3D deer for your deer crossing sign?
A 3D. Honestly, I didn't even know about it until you thought it's goofy.
It looks odd. It looks like the Nike symbol.
It's kind of like awkward. Yeah, it definitely catches you off guard. I honestly didn't know about it until I saw that picture.
It's kind of like the Jordan picture with the guy where Michael Jordan's doing a full split. You know, it's kind of like that picture. It's kind of off-putting.
Yeah.
But you don't catch it on your first look.
Because like on your first glance, you're like, why does that deer look so awkward? And then you're like, wait a second, and look closer and seeing if you're missing shadows that you're not missing. It's just 3D. Like making 3D images 2D often does not go as well as people probably think that they would.
Also, your gas stations are weird. How they do it by the fucking cent.
Bro, by the cent.
Like that's so stupid.
Like
You got like
I mean,
dollars.
that's all I know.
Y'all have whole dollars though. Like y'all have whole dollars that you could be using.
That's all I know.
You can even go by quarters, but you go by individual cents.
It's just what you gotta do. When,
You know we don't. You do not have to do that. That is that's incorrect. It's far from true.
It just makes sense.
I get that.
Yeah.
That should be our slogan.
And
It
it-
just makes sense.
And then it did piss off like every American. Like, no, it doesn't. I don't get the joke.
It just makes sense.
It's yelling. Tell me, why do you use pennies? Why?
But we don't use pennies. Is the thing.
You have like
That's what
Canadian
makes it
pennies.
even
You have
more-
Canadian pennies, which are
No,
weird.
not even.
Yes,
we got
you-
rid of them because
Because they were dumb. Because they were just little copper coins that did nothing.
Toonies and toonies.
yeah, and they ended up being more expensive to make than they were actually worth. So we just stopped using them altogether.
You guys are smart. We still use fucking pennies here for some dumb reason.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, who's-
I went to the U.S. over Labor Day weekend, and I came back, and my friend was literally just making fun of me today for having 5 U.S. pennies in my.
5 U.S. pennies. They're like, and 361's your chain, and they give you like a penny. Like, why'd you give me a penny? Can you just make it 360 and just keep the penny? I don't want the fucking penny.
Right. I'm like buying a shirt for like $19.99, and they give me a penny back. I'm like, what's the point?
I'm basically I'm basically at $10 as it is, man. Just
What am I gonna
give me the fucking.
What am I gonna do?
But don't eat the chair. I don't care. Just get that fucking penny out my face.
Right.
That's how I hate coins. My desk is covered in coins because I don't know what the fuck to do with them. Like, you're supposed to walk up to like McDonald's, like, yeah, can I get a Big Mac and give them like $5 in quarters?
On this road trip that I've been on, I literally have collected a bag of coins that I have now made my weapon of choice in case I get robbed.
He's gonna. If they rob, can you imagine the irony behind that though?
It's like bigger than the size of like a softball.
Oh my god.
Like, it's a lot of coins.
But imagine the irony behind someone robbing for your money and then getting beat with coins.
Imagine.
Like the fucking irony behind it. And even worse, if it was like some Canadian dude who's getting beat with pennies and has no clue what a fucking penny is. Ching! Ah, what is that copper coin in there? What is that? What is that? King! It's a penny. What the fuck is a penny? King! Just getting beat with them.
Yo, that's actually crazy though. My kids will never know what a penny is.
And my kids will never know what polar bears are.
That's horrible.
It is terrible. Speaking of bears, back to the bear arms thing. I forgot. I went on a tangent about pennies for some reason. Back to
Right.
bear arms is my my OG concept idea I had in exactly 5 minutes of class when asking for an idea for a brawler game.
Oh.
And my group went with it, and it's going fantastic. So currently, bear arms can make his arms grow longer. We don't know the science behind that. But he's a normal man that has bare arms, is the plot.
Bear, like
bear, like a
B-E-A-R?
yeah, like a grizzly bear.
Start.
Right. Okay.
It starts from like the shoulder down. Like instantly you get to like the shoulder, it's just bear, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we handle this headcanon here is we scaled his powers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's the 3 games that are yet to be released. There's the first game, which we're working right now, which is just called Bear Arms, which has our main protagonist, which is this been dubbed Prime Bear Arms, of course. And then you have Bear Arms 2, which has which has the most forms of all of our games. It has post-retirement Bear Arms, pre-moon Bear Arms, post-moon Bear Arms, 4, and then Bear Arms Omega.
What happened?
He became a deity.
Oh my
A lunar deity. But this is where shit gets crazy. Because in Game 3, Bear Arms Omega is attacked by Dragon Bear Arms. And becomes Bear Arms Omega powers sealed in the game in the third game and has to get his powers back to beat Dragon Bear Arms. And that's the whole plot of the third game. Yeah. There's no actual plot line, but at some point after the first game he retires and then he gets a family and then his family gets like killed or something like that and then he goes on his revenge quest. You know, basic storyline stuff.
brought back from the child.
Yeah, kind of like Wolverine in Logan.
Except even more badass. More
Yeah, I mean he is. I mean
More hair.
post-retirement Bear Arms compared to his prime form can only destroy small houses with a single punch.
only.
Yeah, in his prime he could destroy. In his prime he could destroy houses, just normal-sized houses. And bro, that's not even the crazy part. Pre-moon could destroy tall buildings, and post-moon could destroy cities.
Bro, is this about to be the next battle royale?
It should be, and it'd be amazing. It'd be like a sandbox game where you have to find the other enemy in the map and just fucking clash in a world and just destroy everything.
Right. So how is the animation done for that?
Right now, everything is blocked out, so he's just currently a capsule with cubes for arms.
Right. Okay.
But as of right now, he's fucking useless. It looks like he belongs like a third grader's like refrigerator drawing that they drew for their dad for like Father's Day. But his powers are legit, and trust me, he's got legit powers. Okay, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the game releases, you can definitely play it. It'll be free. I'm probably gonna drop it on Steam for like $1 for everyone else. You can see it for free though. I can give you the whole build for free.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is it like, are you doing it in 3D or are you doing
Yeah,
it like
it's
a
3D.
2D?
3D top down in
Oh,
Unity
3D.
right now. We might remaster it in Unreal and make like the sequel game. Sorry, the prequel game, which is called Wizard Bear Arms. Which explains how you got the Bear Arms power in the, in the first place.
The origin story.
Yeah. And this whole game takes place in the United Forests of America.
Oh, very.
And
This
that's
is perfect.
yeah. We probably have our 3 enemies right now. Our 3 main arch nemesis. We have Dragon Bear Arms, of course, as you heard before. We have Lord Babatunde and his army of Babahundes, which of course he's a spacefaring warmonger named Babatunde, and he flies out in a large Honda Civic.
Oh my god.
But it's called a Hyundai, a Bubba Hyundai, not a Honda. It's called a Bubba Hyundai instead.
Right.
And then there's the last one, which is a bit controversial. It might bring some flack to us. The last boss is called a Dolphin Findler. It's sorry, Adolf Findler is the whole name. I said it wrong. It's Adolf Findler. And I don't know why I could bring flack. I think it might be because the name is too close to Adolf Hitler, but that can't be possibly. I think it's because dolphins,
No.
as violent creatures, is probably
Dolphins.
just bad for people publicly. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, he does have a mustache somehow, and he does lead an army of seafaring creatures that wish to establish themselves as the greatest race. But yeah, that's different. That's just the second game.
Right.
That would make sense though if he becomes moved.
Yeah.
Assume some sea power.
And that's why he becomes. And the second game is, his family is killed by the seafaring attacks led by Adolf Findler, and then he ends the game by fighting Bubba Hyundai, who's leading the attacks the entire time. And then while he's in space, being a lunar galaxy protector, he meets Dragon Bear Arms and gets defeated. And that's how the third game
got
kicks
a
off.
lot of information now.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna remember this. No one's gonna remember this by the time the third game comes out.
Yeah, but they can watch it over again.
If they watch it over, then I'll put a spoiler warning. The spoiler warning for the
Yeah,
entire
sure.
Bear Arms saga. It's gonna be out. It's gonna be a comic book for this. We're gonna have a fucking anime, dude. It's gonna be great. Our own TV show. He's weak to blizzards, extreme heat, having no strength, and being on prolonged breaks. Basically, hibernation is how it works. Those are his 4 weaknesses.
Redundant.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't work out for a lot, you get really weak. I mean,
yeah,
you can work out during a break, but you know, if his strength, like if like his bare arm strength is like manually drained by like some bare arm draining crystal, it would be like different than being on a break, you know.
Oh, I see.
Like kind of like if he donated blood, he'd be really weak for a bit because he donated blood. Like that would be a pretty critical weakness to him. He'd be like, my blood's been drained. I can't use my left arm for 2 to 6 hours. And that'd be like a pretty critical flaw in his attack plan because he only punches things really hard. It's his only power. Oh, also he can fly in Bare Arms. In his final form, he can fly. Yeah. Normally he can just jump really high, but in Bare Arms Omega he can fly and transmit anywhere instantly within 20 light years.
20 light years?
Yeah, he's really fast. If we see the full Bare Arms power list, I'm gonna link it in Discord real quick. The full Bare Arms power list, so everyone can see how fantastic this is.
Oh my goodness.
Enough about Bare Arms though. That game is still in pre-production, or it's still in pre-production right now. We haven't done any art for it. As a matter of fact, we did really bad this week on the grading because he was mad at like 2 mechanics, which don't make sense.
What were those?
He got pissy over our combo system when we didn't have a previous combo system. He said this combos were broken, and I'm like, we didn't have combos in the first place beforehand. The fact that we have any combos now is good. What are you talking about? And then he got pissy because he thought the AI weren't spawning when they just spawn really slow, and he said they got stuck on buildings and they just didn't spawn in yet. Like, I don't know how. Okay. But what made me mad? So those weren't my problems. Those weren't my parts. The part that made me mad for my boss is he got mad at my boss that I made this week because he couldn't see it. But it was there. I guess it was too large and the lighting was bad. So he graded us poorly on a mechanical thing for aesthetics. So tomorrow, I'm going to give him hell and a handbasket to fix my goddamn grade, or I will literally torch the school. Not really. Right. Don't swap me, please.
Okay. All right.
There's the Bare Arms storyline. I just sent it there. It's called the full storyline is called The Right to Bear Arms, of course, as you know. The Second Amendment. Oh. And of course the game 2 is called Right to Bear Arms Second Amendment. The second game is called Right to
Post-retirement Bear Arms.
Oh yeah, it's the power. It's how they compare it to Marvel and Dragon Ball characters also. Okay. So you can see all of his power scalings too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't quote me on that. That's the whole Bear Arms legacy. The second game is called Right to Bear Arms Second Amendment, and the third game will be called like Right to Bear Arms out of hibernation or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm not there yet. It's enough Bear Arms talk.
Yeah.
It started with polar bears, and I led me to Bear Arms.
Did he like the pun?
The teacher?
Yes.
He has not heard Right to Bear Arms Second Amendment yet, because that's the second game. We're making the first game right now.
No, I mean, oh, so what's the name of the first game?
It's just called Right to Bear Arms.
Right to Bear Arms.
Yeah, it's the original.
Did he like that like play on words?
I think he did. He really enjoyed our game month 1. Like, he really had a good time with it. And then month 2, he just came in and spat on us like we were fucking dollar store strippers.
He's like, oh, that's a cool idea. And then he's like, all right, time to get serious.
Yeah, basically. He was like, his words were, this was the worst build yet when we made our game build.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, you're mad because you couldn't see the boss and because enemies spawn slow? Is that why you're mad at us? They were like, I think we had like one mechanical issue, which was like, if you died, you'd spawn outside of the fighting area because the fighting area had a wall that blocks you in there to fight. So like, if you died, you spawn out of the fighting area. So that was, I guess that was a bug. I don't know if you ran into that or not because his video was recorded in 10 FPS for some reason. I'm not even kidding you. His video was recorded in 10 FPS, and it made me so upset. He's like, wow, what just happened there? I'm like, I would love to know what happened there. If you were recording it like a fucking Mac 1, the OG computer that was first invented by fucking Steve Jobs in his garage, that'd be nice. It's going to turn out pretty well, though. I'm excited for the game. It's going along really well, actually. Like, regardless of his complaining, it's turning out really well. Once we get art for it, it'll look really nice, too. I'm pretty happy with it. You know, this...
Yeah. So, what are you doing for sourcing your art?
We have artists at Full Sail that do the artwork for us. So, like, next month or something like that, we're going to be working with actual artists. Like, we meet with, like, once a week.
Yeah. So
we'll be getting official... Where we can get some official Bear Arms poster art released. And who knows,
Hey,
if this
man.
game makes it big and gets like published by, like EA or something, we'll say no to EA, of course. But like maybe like Bungie.
Right.
Because I don't want loot boxes and bear arms.
My profession does lead me to a place where I could assist in like the advertising for that.
Oh yeah, please
So-
advertise. I want us on Pornhub mainly.
Yeah, right. That's. I was thinking the exact same thing.
I'm
That's just
glad we're the same
exact
wavelength.
direction that we need to
Yeah,
go.
I'm glad we're
you
in
know?
these-
10 seconds playing this game.
It's just bear arms flexing. You won't last 10 seconds playing this game. It's bear arms like literally just killing someone. It's like wow. I mean, it would definitely draw someone in. They'd be like, "That's not belonging to poor site. I'll go look at this," and then go over there. I mean, it might work.
Maybe.
It's definitely a good concept. We could definitely run with that.
I feel like there's this criteria that you're not meeting to get onto a Pornhub advertisement.
I mean,
Like,
we can make bear arms completely naked the entire time if that's what it takes. He's got
That's what it
he's got a man
takes.
body and
Just
bare
blur.
arms, so we could just make him.
Blur. Yeah,
but
just
it's
blur it
top
out
down,
like Saint
so
Louis.
you're literally just blurring.
He could just be
Looks like
erect
a
the whole
finger
time. He
coming
could
out.
just be erect the whole time. The entire fight. It's
Bear on.
like, I've unlocked it, the third bear arm! And it just glows, the whole level destroys,
Oh my god.
implodes on itself. It's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to this game. Official bear arms concept art, man. You know, get it released somewhere. AAA game.
So you have ideas for like how bosses look, how Bear Arms looks. Obviously, is there like side characters?
We might. We haven't gotten there. We haven't been told to expand on like story yet. It's mainly just mechanics right now.
Okay.
Everything that
Right,
involves story has been my idea so far, and like the free time. Like the game was my original idea, so everything that involves story is just me spitting out any ideas that I had with it at the time.
Yeah.
I would definitely expect some like bird arms DLC or some like.
Bird arms.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
cheetah arms, right?
Adolf Fiddler's gonna have human arms, but be a dolphin.
There you go.
He's gonna also have human legs too, which is gonna be really weird to do.
Yeah. Just compound creatures.
We can make a DLC.
Like a modular.
You
I don't-
should just get the shark, the dancing shark from that. What was that? Forever
Katy
ago.
Perry.
That
Fucking-
Katy Perry and
Oh, that fucker from the halftime show.
from the Super Bowl halftime show. Just get him.
He gets just dancing in the game. He's the boss. That'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty dope. I mean, I could definitely see that being a thing that happens with a game, most likely. You never know. We should just have we should have a guy named Joe in the game as a boss. Just normal like Joe or some just normal like Bob. Like just a really normal dude as a boss. Like he's just like a normal sized person, but he punches like a fucking tank. But he punches like a goddamn tank. Like he just walks and goes, "Oh, hello there," and then walks up and he goes, "Wham!" and just knocks you the fuck out with like one swing.
It has to be like a redneck name though.
A redneck name?
That like hunts bears.
Call him like
Yeah, right. Kenny with like a plaid shirt on. He's got his hunting goggles on.
call him Kenny Clint.
Shorts.
Kenny Clint. Hog bottom.
Hog.
Kenny
Kemp.
Clint.
Kemp or Clem?
Kenny Clint hog bottom. Yeah.
Kenny Clint Hogbottom.
Yeah. Plaid shirt. Some jean shorts.
Jean shorts?
No socks but boots.
Oh god. He's wearing the fucking like the Russian winter caps too. He has dual machete. He's like dual axes in his hands.
Oh my god. Or he just has them holstered.
They're a
You know
whole.
how like some police officers will have those like breast holsters for their guns?
He has it for his
Axe
holsters.
holstered.
And
Yeah,
he's
but they never use them.
You know, for the final fight, he goes second phase and pulls his axes out like a Dark Souls boss. He starts doing spin attacks. I thought this entire time I've been hearing explosions in the background. Like this whole time I've been talking, I've been hearing explosions and gunfighter in the background. This is ridiculous.
It's kind of it's not that.
You forget it's there for a while. You know, you just get used to the sounds of war.
Exactly.
I think I'm definitely a veteran now. This is my life.
Except this time, you're not gonna get flashbacks to war. You're gonna get flashbacks to bear arms discussion.
I feel like when I get like really
When you
old,
go to yeah.
I'm gonna be like in my deathbed. It's like it's just gonna go, "Hey, Grandpa, I found an old video of you on Twitch." I'm just gonna hear go bear arms and just sit up and like smack my granddaughter or something,
Oh my god.
and then leave with the goddamn window and break my neck.
Yeah. I was gonna say when you actually do go to war, you'll get flashbacks to this.
To bear
Just
arms.
running, yelling bear arms.
I'll just drop my gun and start going
Let's
around
go
and just
into it.
clobbering people. Oh, he's immortal. The bullets don't work on him. Ah! I just run around. Bear arms. What did he just say to us? Is he summoning some deity? He's out there pimp slapping soldiers. Restrain him! Restrain him!
And then it gets too hot, and then bear arms is weak again.
Yeah, if it gets because bears, they have thick fur and fat. If it gets hot, they gotta go somewhere shady and less active hours. And when it gets cold, they gotta hibernate, which is why he's weak to the extreme cold and extreme heat. Otherwise, he's like bulletproof. He's like no weaknesses. Like I think his weakest form, which is like post retirement, can take like a tank shell. In his weakest form, like a tank is nothing in his weakest form.
To the dome.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like in his strongest form, he's indestructible. Like no physical attacks can damage him in his Omega form.
What hurts him? A rap battle.
I mean,
Really passive comment.
it's like your arms are small. Ooh. He just dies. That's the whole fight. Someone just goes, your game is tacky. Oh, when he just lays on the ground.
How?
Why would you say that? I can't believe it. Yeah, like he's super strong. He's like the best. He's like the best character ever. He's only weak to psychic attacks in his strongest form. Now, if you can see the scaling there. Now, if post retirement bear arms fought like Ultra Instinct Goku, he could clapped obviously. But like Bear Arms Omega can pimp slap Ultra Instinct Goku easily.
I'd like to see that crossover.
I would love to see that, like on those death battle videos, where it's like post retirement, or it's like Bear Arms Omega versus Ultra Instinct Mastered Goku, and it's just like begin, and it's just like one, it goes just teleporting the entire fight. They're just teleporting around, and then you just hear game, use your KO after third. Like what happened? Who KO'd? And you see Bear Arms there. Where's Goku's body? And then, there is nothing left.
Blood comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's like oh my god. He's like one bruise on his face, like exactly one bruise. Goku managed to land a single punch on him. I'd watch that. I'd animate that. That'd be a great fight. Have to be like Bear Arms Omega versus like your created character, though Tark. Like whoever you make, it has to be like him versus that.
Bro.
Yeah, like we can make an expanded universe, dude. We can have like Bear Arms Omega be like the base universe, and then everyone goes up from there.
Yeah.
Like the MCU.
I got a couple of concepts.
I'm down.
In the works. And
We
I
should
started my,
write a comic.
I started my drawing,
Oh, dude, we should write a comic, man.
animating shit. Fucking.
That's gonna be dope. Write a comic. We can write the BCU, the Bear Extended Universe. And it could be like everyone's characters in like one universe, and they all have their own story arcs. And then we have the fucking an Avengers moment where
Mortal Kombat.
yeah we have the Avengers moment where they're fighting an Avengers level threat, which is like dragon bear arms.
It's real life. We find a way to. By the time it comes out, we find a way to like genetically produce them in real life.
The final boss fight is them in real life. The bear arms have been made real. Excuse me, he's been made what? Boom! Through the house, he just flies through. It's like, oh my god!
Okay, but who are you gonna get to play Bear Arms?
To voice him, of course, I'll voice Bear Arms.
Yeah, to voice him, but who are you gonna get to play him when he comes to life?
Oh, in live action, probably like The
Yes.
Rock or something. Or like Thor Bjornsson, Thor Bjornsson, the strongest man alive, someone like that, like one of those guys. Like someone, like one of the
I'm
really
like
strong
thinking-
buff boys.
I'm like thinking I could actually see The Rock with like bear arms.
Really hairy bear arms, like, can you
And,
smell
like,
what the
claws.
bear is cooking? And he's just there.
Big meaty claw.
That's the. That's like one of the cutscenes for the boss fight. Are you going to hit me with your big meaty claws? And he turns around. It's just a fish in front of him who's saying it. He's like, that's the whole boss fight. But also, in the next update for the game, we're adding in buildings that you can break through. Like, so in a fight, you can crash through a building. Or no, for the final boss fight. Because my last game was called Hard Hats. And in my last game, Hard Hats, the whole point of the game was to break down buildings. Or break down the right buildings. And not hurt civilians or break the wrong one.
Ralph.
No. 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 How dare you. We're gonna release. We're gonna leave.
Plagiarism.
We're gonna release contractor kits, which are a version of loot crates called contractor kits,
Oh my god.
and they give you like cosmetic new looks for your guy.
As long as it's cosmetic.
Bro, hard hats in the Barons universe, hard hats gets clapped easily. He can only break buildings with his head. Like he just launches at them and breaks buildings down. Wait, he's pretty strong.
Just
Actually,
like-
he's really
just like I
strong.
tried to have Jackson do in D&D.
With the boats when he just
I wanted to turn him into a port torpedo.
and launch at boats. I mean, honestly, now at your level, it might be possible now at your level. Like when you first asked, you guys were a bit weaker. Now there's like gods in your group and stuff.
I could just tap him with my sword.
Oh yeah, and he go and just fly.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That'd be pretty great. I am looking forward to the comic universe we're gonna create in the future.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If we found a way to like make a computer with enough storage to map like a consciousness, would you upload yourself to live on like as a digital in digital form essentially? It would be all of you up until the point that you essentially uploaded yourself.
I'd probably do like at the brink of death. But yeah. I mean, because that way if I'm on there, they might find a way to get me back into a real body at some point in the future, you know? Because if I'm Data,
Like,
I can just come back.
Yeah. Because that's like, I don't understand people that say no to that, because that's essentially, you know, you can't really prove that the tomorrow you is the same you as today. You know?
That's true.
yeah,
Would you do it, Keegan?
100%.
I think that'd be a good idea, because like, if you're just Data, you can like back yourself on like on a hard drive somewhere, so even if you get deleted, you can sell the backup of yourself somewhere, you know. And if they find a way to like put like you find a way to like get a body like your brain or your data back into a body or something like that, you know, like fucking iRobot type shit.
Yeah.
You can just do that, and you technically be immortal because you'd have a chip, you'd have your own brain and like a hard drive. We'd also be in a different body too, so you'd be like, oh man, this is Gabe version 1.1. Time to upload to like version 2.3, and you'd kind of plug your brain in and get a new hard drive saved.
Right. Have either of you watched Altered Carbon on Netflix?
I have not.
I haven't.
Right. That's pretty much what the show is. So, I mean, it's pretty.
Oh shit, the war's over. I finished the video. I think we
The
won.
war is over.
I think we won, guys.
It pretty much has that same concept, where it's like people have these stacks, which are essentially their consciousness uploaded. So if they get killed or anything or hurt, as long as their stack isn't hurt, they can just be put into a new body, or they can just wait around until a new body is available.
Have you guys ever?
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm definitely
Have
intrigued.
Have you guys followed any of the stuff with Elon's Neuralink?
I have not.
I haven't.
So basically, they've essentially made like an electrode sensor that's also technically an electrode that's about the same size as a neuron, and they can, now that we sort of understand which parts of the brain, not exactly how it works, but which parts are active during different things, they're able to put in these little wires essentially into your brain, and they're so fragile that literally from the production process to the moment they're put into your brain, they're not touched by any humans. Like, it's all done automatically, like not automatically, but it's all
Mechanically?
Autonomously?
Autonomic?
Autonomously? Is that the word?
autonomized. I would say.
Autonomously, right? That's the word, autonomously.
Yeah. Well, not autonomously. It's done because I think still people somewhat control. Like, they still have to tell the computer where to put it, but it's not.
Right.
It's all done by mechanics. Yeah, Keegan, like you said. So
Yeah, but like
basically,
it's
these electrodes are able to sense when nearby neurons are firing, because they essentially fire with electricity and they put out an electrical magnetic field. So they can sense when the neurons are firing, and they can also add stimuli. So one thing that was super interesting to me that I was thinking about that you guys might be interested in is what I wanted to know from you guys is, what would you think about like essentially cyborg-esque upgrades to a biological body. Like you might be able to have a infrared camera outside of your body, but have that connected to your vision centers in your brain.
I would if I really needed it, possibly. But like I like having a human body, you know?
Honestly, after by what do you mean by if you? Because I'm thinking like by the time I get like old, or like if I ever broke a bone or did something like detrimental to my body, that could be easily fixed with like any type of external, like kind of like having a prosthetic arm or a prosthetic leg. If I could have a part of me that's like cyborg, like why wouldn't I do that? You know?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing.
What I'm just thinking, like everyone's lived this far. They know, like everyone has like a breaking point, a point where they start to deteriorate. Like not literally, but like in their
Yeah, like I can't be my dick more than 8 times a day.
Mentally,
that's my
well,
breaking point.
I think if what you're trying
to. Like I'm not saying I want to live forever, but also kind of morbid, like that idea of like living throughout everyone else's life. If you're the only one that lives like forever, it'd be cool to see all these things progress, but at the same time, all the things like you could never get attached to anything because you're just gonna outlive it. Kind of like how like vampires in a lot of movies are feeling that way. Anyways,
goes on a vampire tangent.
Yeah, I would.
You would.
Yeah.
I feel like if we achieved immortality as a race, I think there would be some people that would choose to live forever, but I think that a lot of people, what it would really change is it would change the time that you die would become in your hands.
That'd be
So
nice.
I think some people would get to a point where like, okay, I've lived enough life, and they're like, I'm checking out. Versus trying to have a complete experience within a time frame that might not be favorable or realistic to some people. But I understand what you're saying with not rocking the boat too much in terms of what we have already, because but there's an interesting thing about how the psychology of the humans that exists predominantly today, which are Homo sapiens versus like Neanderthals, which are still somewhat like there's still some Neanderthal genes, but the reason why Homo sapiens are the most prominent is because they found that the exploration patterns of Homo sapiens in Europe specifically, when they were where they could track them by finding and aging different bones, was like completely erratic. Like it wasn't like the Neanderthals settled in sort of like the Spain, France sort of area, and they got to a point where their lives were sustainable, so they stopped exploring. They stopped venturing further into unknown territories. And then the Homo sapiens, when they tracked them, they were going like almost like you would think, like you ever watch a time lapse of like a fetus, or like the networks of roots growing, how they sort of just like they go off in seemingly random directions, but it's at the same time it's evenly dispersed. So they think that the idea of sort of exploration into the unknown is why Homo sapiens specifically became so largely populated.
Yeah, like Neanderthals were content with where they were and what Homo sapiens were more like explorative, and like in some cases that may have been like bittersweet. Like you have all this exploration, you've gone to all these heights, you've noticed like we're the only like creatures on Earth that like cook and prepare different types of another creature's meat. And now studies are coming out saying how bad that is for you when we perceive it as tasting so good.
Mm.
Like how bad that can be for your, like I was watching a documentary with my girlfriend, and it was about how like a lot of, there's pretty much like a pro-vegan documentary, and saying how like eating vegetables and stuff can like not cure, but a lot of these diseases and stuff, and like a lot of the times where people have to take medication, it's due to intake from dairy products or like other types of like meat, stuff like that. And just by eating produce and stuff like that, that's like, if you eat enough of it, that's what you need. That's all you need to like sustain yourself, to sustain your body. You can get the nutrients that you get from meat, from everything else. And so the exploration that we did, and that we found that's good. Like, yeah, we found something that tastes good. We found something we enjoy, except is it doing more hurt, like harm to our body, or is it helping it, you know? And I feel like there's a lot of things in like life that we find it and then we're happy about like our discovery, but then it ends up backfiring on us. There's like tons of examples of stuff that we've like explored, and then like nuclear warfare, we're like, oh my god, that's insane. We found something that can pretty much win the war, and now radiation and radiation zones and stuff like that, you know?
That's in stretching into personal life, the way I see that, like just a very simplified version of that is temporary happiness versus like fulfillment and contentment with life.
Didn't we discuss that on the way back from the trip?
Yeah, we did.
It's a very interesting topic to think about in terms of, because contentment, I feel like contentment is the one limiting factor to humanity, honestly, is contentment. Whenever you're content, you're like, I'm fine, I don't do anything else. Kind of like if you were to work out and your only goal was to get like a six-pack, you get a six-pack, you're content. You get out of shape. That's how it'll go. You'll get out of shape again. That's just how it'll be. You'll lax on your dieting and your workouts, and you'll get out of shape again. If your goal is like, I want to be in great shape, or the best possible shape, you can't stop, because there is no technical best possible shape for a human to be in. Unless, I don't think we've gotten to a point where there's a way to arrange the best possible condition the human body can be. And there's ways to say the closest to being peak is. But that also doesn't count for people that, like, if someone was to train from their initial birth to their day they die, what would that peak be? It's like contentment. Yeah. Contentment can be measured, is what I feel like. Fulfillment is not really something you can measure. It's something more that you kind of feel you're getting closer to, which is why I feel contentment in the long run. And like, you can be like, I'm like a meal. I'm content with this meal. I don't want to eat anymore. You're like, this meal is fulfilling. I might get some more later. I might not. But at the current time, I'm satisfied with this, and I will probably come back to it again later. If you're like, this meal's, I'm content with this food. I'm done now. You're just done. You're not, there's no thoughts of coming back to it. Or like, for a better reference, if you're like being a chef, you say you're content with a recipe. You're like, this is a good recipe. I'm done. No need to improve it. If the recipe fulfills your goals at the time, you'll be like, this is cool. But later, I can make it better. Which is why I feel potentially growth, or at least of the mind rather, is limited by contentment, and that is probably the biggest factor as to why we are destroying the planet so rapidly. Is because we're content with how we are, and we're not changing anything. So by not changing anything, we're doing more harm than good. If we were fulfilled with how we were, but wanted to improve like our energy standards in the future, we'd be working on it. But we're not. We're content with how we're using energy, so we will keep using the same energy no matter what it does.
Well, the majority are not, and then
that's why it's changing. But that's also why it's changing now. But in the past, they were content, and now they're kind of like.
But I feel like, specifically for me, when I heard that all this was happening, I was thinking, what difference am I? Because this is already happening so quickly, so rapidly, and like me eating this hamburger and like deciding not to become a vegetarian or become vegan isn't going to change anything in the long run. But now there's studies coming out saying that in our lifetime, because of what we've done, so like something drastic could happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like there are drastic changes that could happen because of how we've acted. And years ago, when I was like probably like 12 or 13, I'm thinking, damn, Yeah, like
It's a
What am
juicy
I
I?
don't really
burger.
care. I'm still
Yeah,
gonna yeah,
you're
I'm
like
still gonna go
yeah.
to McDonald's.
You're like, man,
Like
it
I
sucks
don't
the
know.
animals are dying, but this one good ass fucking burger, dude.
Right. If maybe like me and then a lot of people that think like me, because I know there's a lot of people out there that think like me, and I'm still kind of, although I'm like aware of this, I'm still thinking in that same way, like
Mm,
a bit. Like I understand that what I'm doing is making an impact, but the impact has to, for stuff to change. I feel like
that
I'd
has to
just
be.
be upset with everybody else, you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
Because like I'll be doing everything that I can. It's like trying to carry your weight in an assignment, and then everyone else is like deleting your work every like
mm,
3 hours or something, and you're working on this essay, and you're like 1,000 words in, and then 300 words are deleted by somebody in your group. Like it's just gonna make me more annoyed with everybody else if I try my best to help the environment, and I know that other people aren't, just don't care, and are thinking exactly like I was. And that's kind of like the scared little like area, the gray area where I'm like, should I commit to this,
mm.
or should I just sit back and like let it happen, and it is what it is. Like, is it too far
There's
gone? Like, what's
there's an interesting. I forget exactly who came up with this idea, but there was a Greek philosopher that my brother told me about. And I think I actually mentioned this to you, Gabe, on the ride. Was that the way he felt about the human nature was that we have the way he described it was that there are, and this is a, a reoccurring theme in most religions, most forms of um, you know spiritual in sort of quotations thought, is that there are three main parts. And the way he described it was a carriage with a driver and two horses, one black and one white. And that for, you know, the driver would be the conscious ego, and both horses, or there's another version that uses wolves, are um, sort of your conscience, and is sort of like feeling bad about your morality, or feeling good, but your morality essentially split up into two entities. And that the way he said it was, you need to have, in the wolves explanation was, when each time you act, no matter how big, or not no matter, but each time you act in a way that has a moral standing, that's either good or bad, in again in like quotations for what is good or bad, but you feed one of those wolves, and whichever one you feed more becomes larger, and that has more influence. And
Mhm.
um, translating that over to the horses, that you need to be in control of both horses equally, or you won't be able to properly steer your carriage through life.
Right.
Um, so, and also just to touch quickly on like the health aspect that you were talking about, Keegan, in regards to like meat and dairy and stuff. I think there's something like 70% of the world is lactose intolerant. And
Hmm.
really, the reason why dairy is so popular in Europe and the U.S. by extension is because most people who came over to the U.S. were Europeans, and that especially in North Africa as well, dairy was used as like supplement during times of famine, specifically like usually winters. In North Africa, it was goat's milk. Um, in Europe, it was cow's milk. Um, and the same thing goes for meat, but on a much larger scale, where meat is a form, is a very condensed form of like protein and a bunch of other things. But like you said, the original, the more common diet of our ancestors were mostly vegetables, or like not vegetables even, but like greens, like wild greens, nuts, and like very occasionally fruit, if you were like really lucky. And that's why we have such a strong sense and craving for sugar, is because we found it most prominently in fruit, and sugar is like super condensed energy. So if you found
Yeah.
fruit, like you you were balling out. You had so much energy. And now we have the ability to sort of, and this is expressed in like the Christian sins, in reference to a lot of them are mostly about overconsumption, whether it be food or pleasure or certain activity or indulgence. I feel now the way I try and explain to it, because I've tried and I am still trying to like sort of move towards the way of being like vegetarian and partially vegan sometimes, and like obviously meat is not terrible for you every once in a while, and it's actually
Yeah.
probably good for you to have, you know, healthy meats every once in a while. But the way I see it is, would you, you know, if we had the ability to be better, should we? You know, like we can't, yes, we can still keep eating meat, but we have enough worldwide trade at this point where most of the like population of the world can be completely sustained on non-flesh agriculture. And I
Hmm.
think it's like 70% of the agriculture already is used to feed livestock to be later eaten, and then that livestock is only something like 10 to 30% of the actual food that's eaten in the world.
Yeah.
Which
That
is
was something else that I was seeing was that I can't remember what state it was, but there is a state where where it's like the capital of factories producing like meat products and stuff like that, and they're they're killing the animals in these factories and then grinding them up and putting them in the feed for the animals to then consume again to like make them bigger, for then those animals to either get tossed right back into that cycle or get sent to like a distributor. And so yeah, it's very morbid to think about. And
mhm,
like all of this, after watching that documentary and another, there's a lot. It was teaching me a lot about like how obviously that documentary specifically was a pro like vegan kind of documentary, and so they're not going to say any if there are any positive effects or positive facts about eating meat, which I'm sure there has to be at least one, you know. It didn't highlight those at all, but it did highlight the fact that the meat market is such a big market that the government is pretty much on the side of that. And it was showing like that a lot of like it was saying some meats cause cancers, like processed meats and stuff um are cause for like colon cancer and stuff like that. And then the National Cancer Society was sponsored by some of the companies that distribute this processed meat and stuff like that.
mhm,
And so whenever this guy, this that was making the film, was trying to talk and ask questions about why the two were correlated, the company didn't have anything to say about it.
mhm,
And so it kind of like just further proves that there are secrets at higher levels that
mhm,
the normal person that just like goes and buys food at the supermarket definitely does not know about,
mhm.
and doesn't like,
A
and
lot of
will
people
never know
aware
about
of.
if they don't, yeah, if they don't like bring light to it.
Mhm,
And so like there's another thing saying that eggs can't be called all these different types of names in commercials and stuff, like they can't be called like low in fat, they can't be called like nutritious, can't be called
mhm.
good for you and stuff like that, and all these ads and everything, and they still get around it some way, you know.
Yeah, it's like McDonald's calling saying their meat is 100% beef, but the the product name of the mixture of meat is 100% beef. It's not, the content isn't 100%. They lie
Right,
on both
yeah.
ends.
And a lot of people won't even know that. They take the
Mm. Damn. What was the original?
Here,
What was the start of this?
I don't remember. This is
Oh,
this.
I think we were talking about how to. You were talking about how to
I
like
was saying.
humanity,
Oh, movement of
and James
Neanderthals.
said,
It
"Yeah,
was uploading yourself.
Oh,
Right.
Literally back in the radio was
Yes, I would.
Yes, I would as well.
I say yes as well. I would upload myself to a computer. Or
I think it would change. I think it would change a lot less than we think it would change. In short, I think it would definitely change a lot. There was
It would also change a lot of your like abilities to like. I feel like stuff would not be the same. Like it would not obviously feel the same having your cyborg arm punch a versus your human arm punch.
Yeah, one of them would
Or,
break.
like-
well,
Right.
And that
Like-
feel a bit different is the broken part.
Movements that you're so used to having would be altered, and that brings me to the point of what are your guys' opinions on self-driving cars taking over? Because like I feel like one thing that I've seen a lot of by a specific YouTuber, his name's Jordan Marin. He's like a car fanatic. He has like a bunch of different like vehicles and stuff, and he loves to drive them, but he also likes the idea of self-driving cars, but they would only be truly 100% effective in like stopping like accidents if all the cars on the road were self-driving and all like intertwined with each other, because then at that point it doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going, all of them are connected with each other, and the computers themselves can like divert in ways so that collisions won't happen. And like a lot of the accidents that happen in cars are due to people in the cars not paying attention or doing something stupid. So it would really decrease the amount of like tragedy in car accidents and car crashes and stuff like that. But all that being said, it would take away somebody's ability to be able to like drive around unless they're like on a track or something. So what are you guys' opinions if the world could have 100% self-driving cars, but you could never drive unless you go to a track or something with like your car or something like that? Would you rather that, or would you rather tragedy happen due to like human error in cars and not have as many self-driving cars in the world? Like, how much do you like driving, pretty much, is the question.
I think that brings up an interesting question about, because I'm also an IT professional. That brings up the issue with technological errors. Technology breaks a lot more than we are aware of, like a lot more. So that brings up that issue too. Like, I do enjoy driving, and while there are a lot of unpredictable variables on the road, there can very well just be some bug some dude decided not to fix late on a Sunday night that leads a car to crash into a preschool the next day, 2 years after it's been developed, you know? It's just that kind of thing. Like, I don't think the average man would be like, man, I sure am fucking feeling scratchy today. I'm going to crash in that preschool. But a computer could be like, yes, turn left now, and then poof, through a window. All because of like one minor error. Like, there's still errors. While there are errors with the human mind while driving, I feel a lot safer with my life in the hands of a human than a machine, just because while machines can be controlled to a more desirable degree, it requires a lot more maintenance to make sure they don't, in the end, break down due to some update or some change in the future. Because if cars are designed off of, like, say, automatic cars are designed off of mapping. They have to map the road you go down, and then it can drive that road with perfection. If the road ever changes, and it's like the day after, you're like, the road's changed, your car is fucked. Cause like, or
all cars have to go get serviced and everything.
Yeah, so either it'd be a day where everyone's walking their ass to work, or it'd be a day where someone's car might just smack into yours, or everyone's car. Oh, well, I think I still would be okay with every car being automatic to a degree. But like Tesla, I think automatic with the option of having the human intervention is probably the best route to go. Because the automatic part could be great for drunk drivers, tired drivers, people like that like are really bad behind the wheel at the current time. It could definitely improve and save lives, reduce accidents. But also, when they don't need to drive, it'll make people too lazy, which is going to be another problem. If people get too lazy and stop driving altogether, when the time comes for them to need to drive, it might be an issue. So.
Yeah, they'll be ignorant to that skill.
I'd say it'd have to be like some sort of mandatory program, like a program that's not controlled by the human, but is set by the car, like between the hours of like 11 p.m. and like 4 a.m. the car will drive automatically and you can't stop it. You know?
Yeah.
Like that'd be a safer bet than being like, I don't feel like driving right now, and you just stop driving, or you go, I want to drive right now, but you're fucking wasted.
Yeah.
And like the only way to access would be like some sort of override key or command that'd have to be inputted in, because I don't think a drunk person's gonna be like, what's the override command? EEJGKGTFTWO. No, they're not gonna sit there and type that in while they're drunk just to drive their car home. They're gonna sit the fuck down with the car and take them home.
Right. I agree with that, with the fact that like people wouldn't know how, like they won't know what to do once they're like, just thinking about the next generation. If the next generation doesn't have cars like that they can drive manually, then they're not going to need to know how to drive a car manually. And then when the system breaks down, looks like they're walking their ass to school or walking their ass to work.
It'd be a waste of
I
think it'd be a waste of resources, probably, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. The thing is though, is that humans like that thrill. So I feel like even if you're not drunk or you're not high, or like you're not under the influence of anything and you're not tired, you're perfectly like capable, and you want to hit the override key just so you can go speeding and like weaving through all these cars that have their automatic driving like mechanism, that also defeats the purpose and could cause accidents anyways. So that's why it's like a whole like 100% self-driving, or like can't have, or like you can have the option, except it runs the same risk.
It's definitely a slippery slope.
Yeah,
but I feel like
so personally, I don't think that all cars will ever be completely automatic, like you see in like Futurama and like all those, or not even like that, because I guess he does control like ships and stuff like that. But like in futuristic like sci-fi movies and stuff like that, how you see like all these cars driving themselves and stuff like that. I don't know if that will happen, but I feel like there was that option for it, you know.
I'm all for it coming out at some point, because once again that would bring up the thought of fulfillment versus contentment. If there are still accidents with automatic cars, there's still going to be improvements. So at one point there will be a way to have automatic and manual cars combined and just be no accident proof to a certain degree, but it'd still be being improved, which would be a good benefit to just general safety. Because also could improve how cars react to sidewalks and like buildings and one another and like stoplights. Like automatic cars, even if you're driving manually, it could be like red light detected and force you to break down, or slow down. Like it could be, it can like begin the slowing process, like to bring you to like 5 miles per hour, but not make you speed past it. So even if you do try going over that line, by the time you get there, you'll be going like 5 miles per hour by the time you go up to the line. So you'll be like, I should just stop before I get smacked in the fucking side.
It's also scary if there's like grave danger, like a and then try to get away.
Could you imagine that? Like, fuck, Joe, faster! Enter override key. Go! Enter override key, please! Override key not accepted. Password, please, not approved. Oh my god, I'm gonna die! And it's so just smacking your keyboard.
Like, that's one thing. Natural disasters will stop.
Yeah, the tornado won't stop for your fucking car. We also can't account for natural disasters. I think that's also an important thing. We can't account for that. But I feel like there should be like an emergency like button for like natural disasters that like has to be run by like the weather committees, like AI or something like that, where it's like, fuck, tornado, and you smack the button, the weather committee goes, beep boop 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 boop. We have an emergency signal. Do we send the car forward and let them go into automatic drive? Yes or no? Is there actually a tornado there? Yes or no? And they like check something like that. It'd be an easy check, because we have like 24/7 surveillance of all of our weather at all times. So it'd be easy thing is like the camera going, is there a storm there? Yes. Then the person can control their car manually. Is there a storm there? No. Fuck you. You're staying brake, pussy. It'd be like that kind of thing.
Like, I really need to get through this.
Yeah, so like, I'm really gonna be like this interview. Is emergency mode? Is there a storm? No. Stay there. Fuck. I can't believe this shit. I'd be blown. I'd be really pissed off. If I would be okay with it because I'd be like, damn, I guess I'm just gonna be late, huh? This is my fault. And also, I guess improve people being on time to places because they wouldn't be able to speed anywhere. They'd be like, oh man, I'll get up at I have an appointment at 10:45. I'll get up at 10 o'clock and then just speed there. Like, no, you can't. Your car won't let you anymore.
The thing is, would there even be cars if all cars? Wait, can you hear me?
You just cut out a bit there. We can hear you now.
Not a bit, but
I saw.
Try again. You cut out again.
Wait.
There you go. You're
Is
back.
that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I was, would there even be?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. For a second, you kind of got. You said I saw, and then you cut out again. I was like, "There's no way." There you go. Though.
Would there even be traffic if all cars were self-driving? Because what would the traffic be because of? If all cars are going at the same speed, and they're all going in one direction, obviously on the same side of the road, and there's no accidents because all of them are like controlled by themselves, would there be traffic? Would people get to be like? The only time you'd be late for work or something is if you didn't leave on time.
Yeah, that's true. So I think that's a good benefit. I feel like I think it all. Oh, continue.
Well, I was gonna say most traffic jams aren't actually caused by accidents, but it's caused by like the shock wave of people slowing down because like there's like a close call, people slowed down, and then it sends like almost like a slinky effect. It sends that wave back, and then if people like, the worst thing to do in a traffic jam is to like speed forward and then stop, and then speed forward and then stop. It's like you want to cruise as slow as you can without stopping, and that makes it better for the people behind you. And that's also another thing that would be addressed with self-driving cars is like taking off at stop signs or at stoplights. Like once it turned green, instead of there being this delayed response, all the cars would start moving at the same time with no delay versus, that sort of delayed slinky effect.
Or someone's texting on their phone and forgets it, yeah.
And then you go or not even just texting, but you pressing on the gas like a second after you see the person in front of you step on the gas. And then if each person waits a second, one person 15 rows down from the actual light is leaving 15 seconds after the light is actually turned green.
That's true.
Rather than the light being turned green and all cars moving simultaneously.
Yeah. I would think that there would need to be, for efficiency's sake, that they could make dedicated roads or dedicated lanes even for only self-driving cars, and then still have sort of hybrid areas for self-driving, sort of Tesla-esque sense, like cars that are able to sense the situation around them versus in the real world versus talking in a digital world to the other cars. And that would be maybe more expensive than a car that would only have the digital lane conversation, and maybe it only has like a manual driving. It doesn't have that in between with all the sensors. So all it would be would be a connection. So that would probably be a lot cheaper and a more efficient way to sort of implement it while having these other self-driving cars that made things easier for someone where there would be more lanes where the sensing cars would be more capable, but that would come at a higher price because it would need more, technology.
Yeah. I think
that
overall,
brings. Imagine being like a traffic cop for the self-driving cars. or like just like a normal cop, and then you're just waiting and you're like, all right, Bill, you got 478 on Lincoln Parkway, and you go, oh, what is it? Lincoln Parkway, the normal road? Oh, my bad. I just have to clarify because
Yeah.
I feel like it'd also be good for law enforcement. We'd have a lot less law enforcement involved with handling speeding tickets and more handling like actual crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like overall that would probably reduce, like, or that probably increase like overall citizen satisfaction within like states and nations if slowly cars became more automated and less reliant on people. So we could have, on top of law enforcement diverted to places, just an improvement like traffic flow and people's production of a day.
Mm.
Because I feel a lot more can be done. You could be in the car writing like your fucking paper that's due in 20 minutes while you're on your way there. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tesla's
Yeah.
like a big name in the self-driving community, but most newer cars have like automated cruise control with sensing. So you can essentially, like, I've used this in my dad's car where you set the cruise control and basically you set a distance from the car in front of you you want to be, and then also a speed. So if there's no car in front of you, you go the speed that it's set. If there's a car in front of you, it will keep up with the car in front of you at that distance, and
That
all you
sounds
have to do is
scary.
steer. So it's I mean, it works really well. I mean, because it's just what they it's like sonar technology.
Or kind of
Like
like,
it's
kind of
what
like reverse
dolphins
cameras.
use.
Kind of like the rear cameras like kind of beep or something like that.
Yeah, it uses that. It senses how close or far you are from the object in front of you, and that's what uses the speed. And naturally, you know, it wouldn't be as good if you used it in like the rain. There would be more interference. So if like preferable conditions would also be, you know, maybe if there's like unfavorable conditions, it says, yeah, I don't really have a good read on like the distance in front of me, so you just gonna have to tough it out.
You're gonna have to
But
take
that's
this
a
take
huge
this one
thing.
over.
Remember the car's like, yeah, bro, I can't help with this one. You're on your own. I was like, what do you mean, man? It's sunny out here. Nah, dude. It's too bright. What do you mean it's too bright? You're a camera.
Imagine the dude that bought a Tesla specifically because he has no arms, and then it tells him he has to drive. Like halfway through, he's on the highway going 60.
It's like, yeah, bro, I can't see anymore. You can't do what? Hang on. I can't steer. And they're fucking gone.
Damn.
I'd be scared as hell.
Just by the way,
Snubs.
speaking of like the cop situation and how cops would be more effective, just a little pet peeve that's going on in my life personally right now. My high school, which I am in post grad year, I'm like a victory lap semester, is not having a homecoming because the team that our football team is playing against a new school that was two schools that like split up. So the two schools, pretty much half of the schools came to like our school, and then half of them went to this new school.
Oh.
And so their reason for not giving us a homecoming is because they can only get 5 cops to show up at the field and cannot get any more. And so we're all saying,
What are the fucking cops
you
gonna
have you have 5 police officers spending their day watching a high school football game, and you want more.
do? Yeah, what
Or
the
we
fuck?
can't have
What's gonna happen?
a homecoming.
Are the jocks gonna beat someone?
That's
Well,
what
when
I'm thinking. Like, are they expecting a brawl or what's going on?
I at one of the I used to be sort of like, I used to know about some like not like bad people, but people that got into trouble essentially. I used to hear stories of like, there used to be, you know, football games, at least in Montgomery County, used to be
Insane.
like, not just insane, but like essentially locales for like locations to meet up for beef. And that there had been multiple situations where there were people were getting stabbed at football games just because of, not because of partially school beef, but mostly just like, you know, territory beef, like people from different areas not liking other people from different areas for the sole reason that they're from different areas.
Yeah.
But there have been like, at least in the U.S., I don't know how I mean, I'm sure it can change. Like,
Don't
it
mess with
changes
Tacoma
just
kids,
from
bro.
county to county.
Right.
You don't mess with Tacoma kids. Tacoma kids will mess you up, man. We from TPMS, bro. We'll mess you up. We're from
Yeah, what about
TPMS,
the
bro.
boys across university?
Bro,
You know about them?
I don't know about them, bro. Something wrong with them?
Fucking Langley Park and all that.
Oh, well, we don't
I'm
talk
sure
about
you know
we don't
about
talk about
them.
Langley, bro.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I mean, because I knew both of those. That's partially why I mean, for a large part of that, like, I became segregated from both of those communities just because I fucked with both communities, but I didn't fuck with their beef. So I essentially became someone who was like, quote unquote, not to be trusted, but just because I was friends with people.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid shit.
Don't worry,
But it
you
can
have
happen.
powerful friends
And one
now,
time
bro.
when we had the rally, do you remember, or did you hear about, Gabe, when we had the rally and we broke out and we were protesting Trump on University Boulevard?
I heard about a lot of students doing
Like-
that, but my school didn't do that personally. I think a few students did.
We were the first one. We were the first ones like in the country.
Yeah, I know that. I remember that was on the news. There was a TV
Yeah,
in front of
we
my
were on the
fucking.
news.
There's a TV in front of my theater room that was playing it when it was happening.
The funniest shit though is literally like 70% of the kids that were there just were there to get out of class.
Yeah, they just wanted to
and
walk
then
out.
left to go smoke. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be a part of this. And then as soon as they got to Wheaton, like it pretty much like 70% of the crowd just was gone.
Well,
'Cause it was
Wheaton,
like, oh,
Wheaton is
it's,
fucking.
Well, no, like even the people from Blair, like because a small group of people kept going on Georgia Avenue to Silver Spring, and like most of the other people were like, we've been doing this for a couple hours.
He's like, my
It's
plug's
getting
here, bro.
boring at this
I'm
point."
my plug's here, bro.
Exactly.
I'm finna, yeah. And they just walk off.
Yeah. So, but the reason we broke out was because there were I think there were just the security guards there and the school cop. There was like 1 or 2 cops, and they just like, they literally broke the bolts on the fence by just like pushing it. So
Blair's
I mean, shit
insane.
can get real, but 5 cops for a football game.
I know football players in high school are kind of
That's-
juiced up on fucking hormones, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's more than 5 Moco cops can handle. Like,
Yeah.
like Moco cops are in there.
Like-
They're no pushover than Moco. Moco has some good cops, you know. We're not
And the thing is,
pushovers.
it's not like I've heard stories of our school being like fighting about with like the school that were
Schools.
or the people, one of the merged schools that were like,
Oh.
but that
Can't
was
go to
like
your school.
30 years ago.
And they're like, this 30-year-old
like,
thief, we
that
can't
was-
trust.
Like, hey, listen, you see one of these motherfuckers, I don't care who they are.
Kick their ass.
Who you know.
Like it was literally my dad's girlfriend that went to my school talking about how there was a brawl with those 2 schools, and if that's what they're expecting and why they want 5 officers spectating this game and making sure nothing breaks out, that's kind of ridiculous because like we live in a new time, or at least I thought so.
Bro, if it's
But
really that deep, just call more
recently-
fucking cops. Like, what's gonna happen?
Citizens of the internet.
Yeah.
They're expecting like a fucking
can't
riot
get
to
this.
break. They're expecting a riot to break out. Oh god, the high school kids have gone mad. They're subs having their football game. They're just shooting everyone. Like, is that is gonna happen? Our 3 cops are outnumbered against the 2 kids with the 2 angry students that are fighting. You tell me 3 cops can't break up a fucking football fight? Like, they're wearing pads. Do your pads stop bullets? Is that how it works?
I hear what we're saying, and we're like, I'm pretty sure 5 guns is enough, and like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Do they think that the cops' backup, if they need it, is not going to get there in time?
It's too late. We've lost control. We've lost control of the situation. You just gotta call the National Guard. Our boys in blue need help. Like, what's gonna go on there in that fucking high school? You just tase one. They'll tase one kid, and they'll be like, "Oh shit!" Everyone will just stop fighting again. They'll be fucking. Then they're like,
Oh shit, no, this is real now.
They'd be like, "Bro,
Yeah.
man, that game was tough, man. Good game, guys. Good game, good game." And start shaking hands real fast. I ain't getting tased like Joey over there, bro. Go to the ground seasoning shit, bro. And then everyone's gonna fucking start keep scrapping, bro. Bro, that's not so
Yeah,
dumb.
I don't really know.
We need 5
Anyways,
cops.
that's just side
wild.
note. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Our homecoming had like no one there. I think our homecoming had like 1 cop there and a security guard, and they were just bullying it.
Yeah. I think usually a homecoming, they usually have like a cop there, and then the security offers, the school security offers, just to check people so they're not bringing shit in.
Yeah.
Usually.
I mean, if that 1 cop gets like overrun, I mean, that's a problem. Because what's security gonna do, bro? They don't get paid enough for that shit.
Yeah.
They don't get paid enough.
Yeah, exactly. Security wouldn't do anything in like a big brawl, but even like, I mean, does your school have does it have cops and then security, like just security guards?
No, we don't have security guards. We just have
How big is your
I think
school?
2 school cops.
How big is your school?
Our school, we have we used to be a lot smaller. I can't remember the exact number. I think it was like maybe 8 to 1,200 around there. But now we have like more like 1,800 kids probably because of this
Yeah,
migration.
crazy.
That school that closed down. So it's like a
Yeah.
decent size.
Yeah.
but I can't really tell because, like I said, I'm post grad. So like, and one thing also that is just a side note, but I'll just finish my thought right now. Like, I'm post grad. Like, I don't really see a lot of. I don't really have like classes. I'm not at school all day. I don't have classes with like a bunch of these people, so I don't really notice the difference until we have like a fire drill and we all have to go on the field, and I'm seeing the whole field's filled up. And I'm like, damn, there's actually a lot of kids in school, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like not something noticeable. I don't really like say, okay, this is really filled up. Only thing that I've noticed is like the parking lot being more filled up than usual
when they're all in one place.
Yeah. But yeah, another thing that I wanted to just bring up quickly. So here's what's grinding my gears.
I can't stand police officers anymore. They tased me. I swear, I hate them.
they tased Joey. You're like, what the?
What did Joey do? He stabbed someone, and you wanted Joey to not get tased for that? You thought Joey gonna be okay with just stabbing someone and walking away? No.
But yeah, one thing I wanted to like bring up that I was kind of like very like surprised with and like I guess grateful for. Well, not I guess grateful. We're definitely grateful for is if I left and went to university last semester, I would have went my 4 years of high school without a single suicide, a single like student that I've known dying or anything happening to them, like in that high school period, which is something that I feel like is not very common, especially today. But like even in Canada, I thought it would be different, but like still. Now coming back for this year, I don't know what the curse is or like what got into the air or something, but I've known 3 kids that have like died because of stupid stuff, you know? Like literally
suicide or like car crashes?
No. Like there was a car crash that killed wasn't a close friend of mine, but she was a week away from going off to university, coming back from a party. And then a few weeks ago there was a stabbing in a school, like a neighboring school. Not neighboring school, it was like a little bit in the city, in the same like district, but like a few, I guess, counties away, as you would say it. So like, and then there was another like drug overdose. Like a roofied drug overdose killing too. So like, I'm saying like all this happening in this is some stuff that I would not be like brought up like to light if I have gotten out of like high school when I graduated. Like the car crash, I knew her and she was like kind of graduated out of high school too, but it's just something that I feel like is not very common. I feel like people say that like you're gonna at least see one of a close friend or something get into a fatal kind of accident or something like that, or something's gonna happen to somebody in the school that you're gonna hear about.
Yeah,
just something to be prepared for. And in my 4 years of high school, that never happened to me. And then my 5th year, all this is happening, you know?
I mean, it's perspective. If you didn't see it now, you would have seen it later in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know. What do you guys think about death? Like,
not very cool at all. Death, don't like it. I get so angry when I hear about people dying and stuff. If I could find the president of death, I'd kick his ass. No, but I mean, I don't discuss it a lot, but I think about like often, like, what the fuck would happen if I just died one day? Like, just what would happen?
Like, how would the world carry on?
How would my friends react, like family? Yeah, like what the hell would happen if I would just die like tomorrow? Like on the way back from school or to school, I'm just hit by a car or someone just decides to fucking shoot me for some goddamn reason. Like, what would happen?
Yeah, I was just thinking like random drive-by.
No, like I don't know. I was in a fucking I was in a Hispanic market today getting groceries, and I'm like, well, if this guy just fucking stabbed me and just like slit my throat and I just fucking died here, like what would happen?
Yeah.
But like even like not thinking about death of my in general, it's like sad, but it's also the circle of life. And as humans, we blessed to survive just naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like just thinking about like animals and stuff, how they have one purpose, and once they fulfill that purpose, that's it for them. We're blessed to have like such a large time span to do anything and everything that we wanted to do or want to do. And it is sad to think about, but it also is the circle of life. Like if it happens, there's like I don't even know of like a good way that I'd want to go, you know?
I don't know. I can't think of either. I don't want to. I don't want to die old. I feel like, but I also don't want to die middle aged or young. Yeah, like
Yeah.
because I know if I die old, I'll be like, man, I just wish I did more. You know, like or I might. I don't know how I feel when I'm actually fucking dying of old age, but I feel like I'll be like, man, life is good, but I
wouldn't
wish
want
I
to
could have done more.
die of old. I'd be
Yeah.
fine dying old if I like, like it was sudden.
How do
I
you?
wouldn't want to
Is,
die
hasn't,
of being old.
have you? Has
Like,
someone ever just died of being? Is that thing? Can you just die of being old? Is that a
Well,
thing?
that's just your it's just your organs failing, really. Usually, it's a cascading effect. Like one thing fails, and then everything else. It's just
Yeah,
you're
so, like-
so weak at that point that it just cascades. And
Just don't get weak, Lamau. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
But I was thinking, like,
Well,
how
gym,
how
pussy.
do people get weak? I know as you age, your muscle mass deteriorates, but how do you actually get weaker physically internally?
it has to do. It's actually there's a lot of
Production of
interesting
cells or
stuff.
something
I've been
like that?
taking this. You should watch the the Joe Rogan podcast with David Sinclair. This man's who actually like he's I don't think he teaches. He might, but I think he's a scientist at Harvard, or he does work under Harvard's like sort of jurisdiction of things, like he gets funding from them and stuff and other things. But his whole research area is like anti-aging, and he wants to approach aging as a disease, because the way he sees it and the way he describes it is as pretty much the disease that everybody has.
I feel like that's true though.
Because there are always there's always parts of your cells that have your complete DNA, and there's also talk of see, this is where I get confused about it, because I'm not entirely sure of the distinction, because I've heard him say and talk about there always being your complete strand of DNA in all of your cells, and that your body just gets worse and worse at copying it over, kind of like the fidelity of the copier breaks down, not the actual original.
Yeah.
So when you're copying the genes, it gets there becomes more and more defects, and then things start to fail, and that he's looking at various ways to try and make the fidelity of your actual DNA last longer. So I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that I could go on a tangent about in regards to that, but it's probable that in our lifetimes we'll live to like 120, like actively.
Yeah. I just feel like as long as you stay healthy, you'll probably live a lot longer until they figure a way out. Like that's why my goal in life is to always be doing like CrossFit and like body weight training, just so my body is never physically weak, and with proper intake, it won't be like nutritionally weak either. Which is my that's what I want to do. I just don't want to age. I don't know why. I don't have a problem with getting old. I have a problem with getting weak. Is probably what my main issue is. Like I don't want there to be a day where I can't walk by myself anymor, or like I can't climb stairs without being tired. Like I don't want to have those days. I never want to.
Yeah, because you're always back. Okay, I'm just gonna wait. I saw myself cutting out and just.
No, but yeah.
Is it the input sensitivity?
No, I turned that down.
Oh, okay.
It actually might be fixed now. I think it was the position of the mic. But like you're always gonna think back then about like your peak performance and like stuff like that, and that's gonna be depressing to like think back on,
You know, like when I have a son and my son's like, Dad, I can lift 80 pounds. And I'm like, I remember when I could lift 80 pounds.
Right. Or like I remember when I could climb up these stairs and not lose breath.
To not break my left femur.
You're right.
My uncles are still beefy. Like, my uncle is, like, in his mid-30s and could still outlift me in it any day. And that's my plan. I want to be like that when I'm, like, 60. Outlifting my 20-year-old son, you know?
Like, 28 to, like, 32 is the current, like, physical peak, really.
My uncle's, like, 36, and he's still a monster. He could probably sprint.
Some people say it's, like,
he can sprint faster than me, I'm pretty sure.
28. But in terms of, like, overall strength and ability, because by the time you're mid-30s, early 30s to mid-30s, that's when you've usually you have the most, your body's usually in the best performance. It's before the decline, sort of.
Yeah, well, this is my peak of my performance. Time goes downhill from here.
He's like
it's like doing anything extravagant, like bottle flipping while you're on a plane and like it flips on the wing, and then everything else past that point is downhill.
Yeah.
Like you can never top what you've just done.
Yeah, could you imagine that shit one day? Like for theory, could you imagine it's like you just finish eating like a bowl of rice and you're like, oh man, I sure am full. And they go, oh, I'm too full. And you just start, and you just can't eat anymore. And you just keep eating less and less. He's like, oh, I can't eat anymore ever again. And you just can't eat. Cause like eating a bowl of cereal and then getting full the next day from eating like a grain of rice. Like that would suck. Like you eat less and less. But it's the same thing with your body. Like being able to do less and less. That would be terrible.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with, that's the thing, like the most important part that they say about getting old is staying active.
Yeah.
It's something you have to carry through, because once you've gone down, that's the thing. It becomes more and more difficult to become more fit and more active and healthier as you become older. But if you can carry it, then it becomes a lot easier. And that's the thing, like if you're not exerting your strength or exerting your body to use calories and to use the energy that you have stored and to work your muscles,
it'll waste them.
You won't burn the calories, you won't be as hungry, you'll eat less, and then you'll be consuming less overall calories and nutrients on a whole. And because of that, your body will sustain less because it won't have the energy to sustain.
That's how I am right
now.
Yourself. Yeah.
Very literally, if you don't move it, you'll lose.
Yeah, that's how my body's right now. I want to work on it right now. I don't have a proper diet. Like I can eat like maybe 2 meals a day, and that's if I maybe eat a second meal a day. Otherwise, I can eat like a 1 meal a day, work out, and be fine an entire day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get to 3 meals a day again, but it's just really tough because I've been so used to
eating
small amounts.
And it's just the thing is, food is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like I'm out here trying to bulk up, and I'm like, okay, I have to eat so many calories. I figure out what that amount of calories actually is in healthy food.
Yeah, like
and
it's a lot.
Much.
I'm trying to bulk, and I'm like, bro, I eat like chicken and rice 3 meals a day, like 2 cups of rice and like some 3 tenders of chicken, and I'm like, that's a lot of calories. I look at it and I'm like, that's like 700 calories per meal. I'm barely getting enough I need to survive a day, not bulk up. And I'm like, this shit's crazy.
That's the thing. Well, it's likely that you're eating the amount of calories that you burn. Like, it's a lot harder to burn those calories. But when you're bulking, it's not. You just need to eat more.
Yeah, I'm bulking right now. I got protein powder. I've been eating nothing but chicken and rice for 11 days. What is it, 12 days? 16 days. Sorry, I got lost track of time.
16 days. Day 17.
Bulking is tough, though.
Chicken and rice again.
I mean, my main goal when I bulk is not to get like big muscles, but it's to get.
I don't know when this will end.
I don't want to get big. See, I don't want to ever have really big muscles when I bulk. I just want to have really strong muscles, which is why when I bulk, I mix in like swimming to tone the muscles down so they aren't just bulky and useless. You know?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
I envy
density. Muscle size.
My muscles are dense as fuck, bro. Fucking dense. I could hug a grown man and kill him. I'm pretty sure.
That boy that looks skinny as fuck, his muscles that's not
Bro,
big yet.
you said until I fucking snap his forearm in half like a toothpick. I had a topic I wanted to discuss. I saw a post not a post. I watched a video the other day. I'm gonna put some images in the chat that I found. They relate to a guy that from the CIA. He did an Ask Me Anything about the CIA. And here it is. These are the two I found. I can link the whole video to watch for a later date, and we can bring it up for another topic like later on.
Want to read it out?
Yeah, like an actual topic for like a different podcast, obviously, because like we can go on a long tangent about like intelligence and like different theories about stuff. But the two ones that commented the most in the video were: are there any secret societies or powerful people that have a huge influence on the intelligence community? And like, because they spelled intelligence wrong and spelled it intelligence.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And the two they put in there were Texas A&M and the Mormon Church. Texas A&M is a research institute in Texas, of course. If you ever known of the Texas A&M is a research school in Texas. And the Mormon Church is also known as the Church of Latter-day Saints, which I researched in a different time, not knowing you're related to this. The Church of Latter-day Saints is the richest organization in the world, more money than the Roman Vatican, actually. The Church of Latter-day Saints has more money than the Roman Vatican, and it is one of the most wealthy organizations in the world. And that's insane to look at that and say, so you're telling me a college in Texas and a church have the biggest influence on our intelligence community, like our gathering community of getting information to like the CIA. You tell me that's what I got.
Is this? Yeah.
And I think it's insane to think about how you're like, things you wouldn't think about. You wouldn't consider like, oh, the church and some Mormons are our biggest allies in gathering intel on the enemies.
I was watching something recently, and it was talking about finance, and they said, if you want to be an employee, like if you want to be taken care of, the best place to go is Europe. But if you want to make a shitload of money, the best place to be is in America.
That is true.
Really, that's the strength that this country has, is that, you know, money. And that's what I think when I think the root of most of the beginning of conspiracy theories, like people trying to say like, oh, they have it else, they want to control us, they want to, you know, like there's like Alex Jones, like they're coming in your dreams, they're gonna take you to demon child. More than anything, it's about the money. Like if you break it down, almost any time, it's about the acquisition of money, and it becomes less about how much money you have, but how much money and influence you can have. It's almost like the status symbol at a certain point rises above the actual quantitative amount of things and its influence.
Those are three topics for next time.
And the thing is,
are addicted to making money. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. The thing is that can lead me to so much about. I can literally take that to Batman. I was just watching the Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Oh, it's so good.
What was that?
That's so good. Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Such a great performance by him. And a quote from him is he says that like everyone cares so much about money, and that's not like, as long as you don't give money that power, you have like you give yourself like a lot more power. When he burns a stack of money.
Yeah, he goes, it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. And I'm like,
right, yeah.
I love that. It's a great line.
I was like, damn. What a performance, first of all. And like, that's actually so true. Like, everybody's so infatuated with like money and this wealth, especially in America when their currency, your guys' currency, is literally international.
Yeah, that's
wherever you go,
crazy.
You can trade for U.S. money.
Valuable.
Yeah.
I think. And the last topic I had, or not topic, the last thing we were going to say about the second post, which does, I guess, kind of tie into public relations and political power and money, is, does the CIA use child prostitutes to control assets? And the guy
says, I plead the fifth.
Yep, the guy from the CIA said, I plead the fifth. You know, the one where he's like, I don't have to answer. I don't want to answer. I think
Yeah.
I heard what they actually, but it's really along the line. You don't want to answer. You don't
Things
have
we
to.
use to control assets are
Unselling enough without getting-
going into detail.
And I think that's crazy
I
thing
don't
about.
think that
No, continue.
I wouldn't say that confirms the statement, but I would think that I think that would be leading to there being things even more disturbing than that.
Yeah, worst thing.
Mhm.
Because they're I mean, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down in terms of what's possible.
Which is why I want to
there's-
save those for like the next time we do this, which I put them in the little chat there under it, which I want to save these topics for another time. But I thought it's a good thing to bring up like these ideas now, so the next time we do this, we can have them like at the top of our head or at least in the back of our
Right.
mind. Because I don't want to get too far into it because I know Keegan has to head off soon, and I also have to go off soon.
Yeah.
I have class tomorrow. I'm gonna be up at like 9. But I think just think about it this way: that the amount of things the lengths people will go to just for like information and controlling other people outside of just money is potentially terrifying because we have a limitless possibility of things to use at our disposal to get someone to do what we want. If you're really willing to, and there were no laws against it, if someone said, if you give me your left ring finger, I'll give you a fucking mansion.
Yeah.
Some people would give their fucking left finger for in a heartbeat. If someone's like, if you give me your daughter, your 12-year-old daughter, I will make you a goddamn billionaire. Some people would do that.
Yeah.
And if someone was to say, kill that man over there, no reason at all, and you can get away with it scot-free, and I'll give you $100. Some people very well just might do that, and I think that's the scariest part of not knowing how far people are willing to go and what currency, not even like money, but just what people's idea, like what their potential idea of what a currency could be, is a pretty frightening thing in general to just consider for our
Speaking
time.
on
Hello?
the Joker, just quickly, yeah.
You still there?
Speaking on the Joker, can Keegan hear us?
I think so. Keegan? He's dead. The Joker got him. The Joker sent a message. This is the Joker sending a message. This is the Joker.
It's not about the life.
It's about ruining a podcast, and that's
But that exactly is that I think, and it's more prevalent in the new Joker movie, which I mean we can talk about that in different times.
Oh yeah, I'll have it there as well.
It's more than anything. I think some people believe,
You gotta fly.
or I think it's, yeah. I mean, just quickly, I think it's possible that the real nature of the universe that we live in is more chaotic, neutral than anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that sort of we like to, and that this comes back to the argument to the topic of contentment, and more so, contentment is connected, but more so is safety and sanity, and that really, and consistency. That sanity is really a product of consistency, and that there being no consistency, or sort of like the no rules chaotic mentality, is closer to the truth of the way things are than I think people would like to admit. And that it's understanding that you have the capability to do terrible things, and this also connects back to the meat eating stuff. Understanding you have the capability versus choosing, understanding you have the capability and choosing what to do.
Yeah.
Because we, so far as we know, have a choice in the world we want to live in. But I think the world that we do live in, as sort of like a Russian doll sort of environment, is limitless in the sense that there are no favorites, there are no rules, there are no in the grand scale. And then, as you specify more and more, those brackets become more clear and there's more sanity, but the truth is really sort of insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain. Yeah, and I guess just to close out, closing this, I guess this general broad topic of the broad topic of contentment and moral ambiguity and the likes. good and bad, while both subjective, do have defined terms in society, which I think are a good thing to always notice, which is why looking at the thing about child prostitutes and eating animals and saving the environment and murder and everything that we basically wrapped up today discussing, like the different lengths people will go and what people will think is too much, too little, and too evil. It all still boils down in the end and can all be, I guess, controlled by social outlook, which is, I think, the biggest part of being human is a good thing we have is sentience. Because while it is both a blessing and a curse, I use the word blessing loosely because I am, if most people didn't know, I am atheist, agnostic anyways. Blessing and a curse. Sentience at the same time is the one thing that has allowed us to be the most creative, advanced, and intuitive races to come about, which allow us to have talks like these to discuss such things that we wouldn't normally consider and wouldn't normally try to bring to the forefront of people's minds, because most people wouldn't think about saving the planet or what people do to get information, or if it's right or wrong to kill someone for $1 million. But I think having that ability as a human is great, and it really does make me thankful, I guess, for not being old and senile yet. And that is where I will end. I'll step off my soapbox, and I will end my part of the podcast now. So anything you want to say, Tar, before we end off, you're welcome to do so. You're good? All right, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in, whoever is here. We will be back eventually to talk about our other topics, which, as of right now in our short list, involve Alex Jones, which also ties in with conspiracy / theories, the CIA, the new Joker movie, and potentially this one was my personal thing I want to talk about was the people's outlook on the issues between Syria and Turkey, like the war going on there. I want to kind of discuss that because it is a pretty big topic that's up in people's minds right now. I want to discuss my thoughts on that before it gets too far. Controversial or not, I'd like to discuss Joker and the Syria Turkey thing, because those are two important things that people should either be well informed on or hear other people's opinions on, because opinions on these kind of matters is very important. So thank you all for tuning in. I've been your host, Shrumpalumpicus. We're here with Butternuts, and our boy Onik headed out earlier, and we'll catch you later. Suck my knob. All right. I'm kidding. Oh no, he left. I was joking.